we know as a matter of fact, proportional to a population, that 3 times as many African Americans are shot and killed by police as white, right? Now, you don't take totals and compare them. So that's the first trick that's always played.
Right.
Because you have African Americans as 13% of the population and white Americans, what, 70?
Yeah.
Something like that. So if you just take the totals of each who have been shot, killed, murdered by the police and compare them, you say, well, there's been more white people. So why isn't there outrage?
Right.
Well, because we're talking about a much smaller percentage of the population overrepresented in these statistics, right? Of criminal police behavior. Then the next thing is then to say, well, but if we look at violent crimes, African Americans commit a greatly disproportional percentage of the violent crimes, which is why they're involved in more police shootings. So the first thing you're going to respond to that with is by pointing out how most of these police shootings had nothing to do with violent crimes. So it's like, I mean, that's not even like relevant. Driving down the road and putting your hand in the wrong spot or running away. Right. In some of these cases. But what people get wrong is that what you should be looking at is the number of police citizen contacts. Right. So many times that a citizen and a policeman find themselves together, whether it be a traffic stop or whatever. And that's where we find a tremendous disproportion given the population of African Americans versus white Americans. But people, they always start at the complete other end. They say, right when the shooting happens, that if there is systemic racism in policing, that's the point at which it occurs, right? Whereas we know better. We know, no. Where systemic racism in policing begins even before, all the way back when they decide what areas they want to police, what they want to look for. It's a whole system that starts all the way back at lawmaking, then priorities, then what neighborhoods get policed, then, the number of police in those neighborhoods, then what are you looking for? Is it drugs? What kinds of drugs? Party drugs for white frat boys or street drugs, right? So all of these things go into it. And then when the point of contact happens, what are the expectations of police toward African Americans as opposed to other people? What do they think? Are they assuming violent tendencies or something of that sort right off the bat? So if you're going to talk about systemic racism in policing, you got to talk about the whole package, from the law books to the prosecutors to the police to the decisions on where the police should be to how neighborhoods are structured, how neighborhoods are segregated, all the way through that. When you get to the point of the shooting, your answer should already be in place. Okay? That's not the point to begin the investigation or to start the statistical comparisons. You have to start that way back at the beginning. It is a form of social control. And even if the individuals aren't intending it to be, they've come into those patterns and those systems, but they're not understanding that they're part of something that goes back hundreds of years.